Hey roomies, Bree here. One of the stories this week deals with the subject of addiction. This, understandably, is a difficult subject to speak about, but it's yet another conversation we'd like to normalize because it affects our lives as well. We hope you'll be a part of the conversation with us, but of course, we understand if this is a triggering conversation and you need to step away. In which case, take your time, we understand, and we look forward to seeing you next week. If you or anyone you know is affected by addiction, there are solutions and there is help. You can go to samhsa.gov. SAMHSA's National Helpline is a free, confidential, 24/7, 365-day-a-year treatment referral and information service in English and in Spanish for individuals and families facing mental and/or substance use disorders. You can also call 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. We're glad you're here and you're not alone. We love you. Enjoy the episode. Listener's discretion is advised.
Hey. Hello.
Pretzels are one end of the spectrum. Like it's either they're the little hard ones or it's the soft ones, and you either hate them or you love them.
Oh, at restaurants? Yeah, no, they
Like-
either know exactly what they're doing or they should, just take it off the menu. And I'm talking to you, B-dubs, because my friend and I, when we were talking about it, how when we served there, we would just tell people certain things. We were like, don't do that. Don't spend your hard-earned money on that. And one of them was the soft pretzel at B-dubs, because that shit could break your clavicle. If you got hit with it. It was frozen as solid, and the cheese I watched get heated in a microwave, and every time I dropped it off, I was like, clap. Do you like it?
Doxing the cheese at B-dubs?
I don't work there. I don't work there.
You didn't sign an NDA.
I didn't.
But I feel like I can't say that I hate pretzels because that's not exclusively true. I don't like hard pretzels.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like I said, the worst part of any snack mix is a pretzel.
Yeah, that's a wild fucking statement.
I stand by it.
That's weird.
I'll die on that hill. I know I'm not alone, but I know it is very polarizing.
Do you guys see what I'm dealing with? It's literally the worst. Every day she does something like this. Just, you learn different things. It's you can't get close to people because you learn shit like this. And you're like, why didn't you tell me this when we were moving in together 7 years ago? You know?
But we do have things that bring us together, Black Mirror.
Yeah, no, so I don't know if that brought us together as much as it, literally put me in my room.
Back.
Literally put me in my room. And I, thought about it all day.
Which is hysterical to me. Because I watch Black Mirror and I'm like, I love this. And then you're like, I've had enough.
I'm literally going to throw up right now if I see any more blood. I shit you not, guys. I have the hands of a toddler, but I had them in front of the TV so I couldn't see it when the blood was. I was like, I can't do this.
I also just need to give myself the credit that I said, Don't Worry Darling could have been done in an episode.
Bree said it here first.
I said it could have been a Black Mirror episode, and then they did it and did it better.
Do you hear that, Olivia Wilde? You didn't need to do everything you did.
No.
You could have just done a Black Mirror episode and probably taken a month out of your life.
Yeah.
And just look, I don't have the time to be giving advice because that's what this is for. And she didn't email us.
But they did it better. Sorry. I'm not sorry, actually.
They did do it better. That was I don't think I was breathing.
That was a good episode.
It was so scary. It was good. It was so good. And I felt every emotion. And I really it did a number on me. I thought about it a lot today. I was like, that was really fucked up, man.
I also just love, is it Kieran Culkin?
Oh my God.
Is that
yes.
the Culkin?
Yes.
Every time he comes back in our lives, we just we just look at each other and we're like, just shrug because we're of course.
It's always a cult leader. It's always something with him. Sam Rockwell has in his contract that he always has to do a dance number in his movies. Kieran
I love that.
McCulkin Macaulay Culkin. I'm sorry, I'm fucking it all up.
Kieran Culkin.
Why'd your parents do that, dude? I feel like in his contract, he's like, cults. They're like, dude, this is Sesame Street. And he's like, okay.
He's like, okay, but what
about the vampire guy? Like, he's always seemed fishy. Or the guy who lets nobody in his trash can.
Yeah, he could have a cult in
but
there.
seriously, I feel like
we don't know.
He literally is like, I can't be normal. It's not in my. I will not brush my hair.
I was gonna say, do you think it's in his contract that he can't cut his hair?
I just like, he leaves me speechless as well, because I just feel like a lot of things towards him.
I know, he gives me a lot of feelings and they're a little bit confusing.
They're all so confusing to the point where I'm like, it's just better if I don't ever meet you.
It's better if I don't think about it too much.
Because it's just like, I just like really like your little pretzel dilemma. I feel like it's one of two spectrums. Like, I'm either going to love him or I'm going to despise him. And what I fear is that I might love him. Kieran, if you're listening, don't call me. Don't call me or follow Rent-Free Roommates. Okay? Jeez.
But yeah, for any Black Mirror fans, I'm also very excited. Did you watch? I'm only 3 episodes in.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know if you're a pussy like me or a badass like Brie. Again, I feel like the theme of this episode is spectrums here.
I'm obsessed with that show.
Polarizing spectrums, because I'm over here. I'm like, literally told Brie, I was like, we need to watch something lighthearted.
We really flipped roles last night.
We really did. I just think I've had to I just need something a little light and bright for a while. Even the spooky bitch needs a little sun. But no, hi everybody. We're so happy to be back.
Yes.
Brie missed my brother's birthday. It's really fucked up if you ask me. But no, she went and had like a girls' weekend. Shout out to our friend Emily.
Yes, I had a what? Yes, I had a bachelorette weekend. Sorry.
Did you want to say blast and bachelorette at the same time?
Yes.
That was very gruel of you.
It was so much fun. It's a great group of girls, but I was also missing you guys. But I'm so happy we're all here now.
Yeah. We don't need to miss you anymore because you're right here.
Welcome home. Glad you're back. If this is your first time, my name's Brie.
I'm Abby.
And we're your rent-free roommates.
Damn right we are.
And we are so excited for this episode. We're excited to get into it because we love giving advice. And
do we love giving advice or do we love talking? The jury will always be out.
Yeah.
The jury will always be out on that. But I think we truly just love to give advice. We love to help people.
We do. And we really appreciate when you guys reach back out. We love hearing from you guys in any capacity. And the fact that so many of you have reached back out to us just to say that you enjoyed an episode or anything like that, or that what we said actually helped, absolutely melts my heart, because nobody needs to do that, and that you did it just like makes me cry every time, and I love it so much, and we love you guys, and I'm so appreciative to you, like, just letting us know and completely validating our feelings.
Yeah, it's almost as good as getting paid. No, I'm literally just kidding, but it's literally so nice. And to her point, like, you guys don't have to reach out, you don't have to let us know. Again, like, we love to talk. I'll still do this even if like nobody was in here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but just the fact that what we say does have some sort of impact, or it makes you feel seen or heard, really just solidifies, again, why we're here. And to anybody else that's new, if you have anything that you want to talk about, celebrate, need advice on, want to vent on, anything at all, email us at rentfreeroommates@gmail.com.
RENTFREEROOMMATES@gmail.com.
We should have a contest one day to see if any of the listeners can do it as fast as you. That's how we'll know you guys are really listening, because if, like, you really truly are a listener, she's gotten better every episode. Like, she gets a little bit faster every time. So, I mean,
I'm gonna be so fast you can't even hear me someday.
Yeah, and I really think the only way that you could let us know that you're listening is to do what?
Well, you could follow us on social medias.
That
just
could be
about
nice.
Any of them.
Yeah.
We are Rent-Free Roommates everywhere except for Twitter, where we are Rent-Free Roomies.
I mean, that might be nice.
Yeah.
Is there anything else they could do?
We'd love to see you guys there. You could share us. We would see that, because if you like tag us while you share us.
So that could be nice.
That would be so cool.
You know what I'm thinking?
What?
Maybe a review.
I love that idea.
Ooh, I love feedback.
I hate us.
One thing about us too, we'll talk and we'll do a bit to the core.
Whether you want it to continue going or not.
I mean, honestly, I would have gone full fucking, like, all the way home with that one if Brie didn't stop us just now. I was ready. I was committed. She stopped the cringe. But no, just fucking love us. Fuck.
Rate, review, subscribe, share. It really helps us out. And we love seeing you guys and seeing you interact. And we want more roomies. But especially we love hearing from you guys with those emails. We really love helping you out. So the only way we can do that is if you email us, guys.
Oh, just do it. Just fucking do it.
And yeah, like Abby said, it's the good and the bad. We want to hear it all. So it doesn't have to be something you're super upset about, but we're here for that.
No, I mean, I literally just almost passed out. Like, literally before we started recording. So, like, if you wanted to talk about that,
she's a trooper.
I can relate to that too. Brie passed out when she was a kid, so she can relate to that.
High school.
Right. Oh, shoot.
That's a kid.
I'm always listening. And I'm always listening, too. So know that when you email us, I'm right there. I'm, like, zoned in.
Tunnel vision, you might say. Don't do that, though, because I don't want you to pass out.
Only half the face did.
That's so scary to me. I don't like that detail. I'm going to check on Abby, and we're going to get into this.
Uh-oh. Dude, that's scary.
It's a little scary.
Sorry. No. I really want to hear that. Keep that in. I mean, do what you need to do. But I was going to say, you know what I was thinking about today, though? I was thinking about Joan Allen when I was back home. And I had a conversation with her in my head. And I feel like that sounds crazy saying it out loud. So we will move on.
Who hasn't done that?
Who hasn't had a convo with Joan in their head?
I was going to say, not specifically with Joan, but I have plenty of conversations in my head.
With a celebrity?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most recent one that you've had a conversation with?
I guess it's been a while since it's been a celebrity. Just various people, or just myself. Lots of conversations with
I'm
myself.
always like, that bitch is spitting facts. She knows what's... I wish the conversations, like... I wish I did the things that I would say I would do in the conversations.
I know.
She's got her shit together.
Yeah.
Whatever she's doing. Whatever game plan she's got going on. How do I get the body, the vessel to do it?
Yeah. How do I do it on the outside? That's what I need
one
to know.
for the scientists.
I also look a hell of a lot better in my head.
Oh, yeah. Yes. In my head, I don't have a lazy eye.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I'm like 100 pounds lighter in my head.
I'm maybe 5 foot.
I'm like perfectly curvy. And I have an ass. She's great. She's hot. You guys should see her. I wish I could show you, but
just close your eyes.
Like when I put this outfit together today, I was like, hell yeah. And then I caught myself later on and I was like, I do not look how I look in my head.
I don't mean to laugh at that. Why? It's her facial expression, everybody. I sound like a bitch ass friend. Ha! You felt insecure. No, that's so rude. She just made a now I got to do the PR. No, that was really funny, Brie.
Thank you.
That was really funny.
It's a good outfit. It's just like my hair and stuff does not look as perfect as it does in my head.
Oh, never.
I see myself and I'm like, oh, she's been through it.
You're like, are you okay? What happened? And you're like, nothing. I just went to work. Yeah. And it's just Brie having a conversation with herself in the corner.
Yeah. I look like I ran or something. I never run, but
I think we need to stop. Fuck.
Yeah, this is not good.
We should get into this episode before somebody tries to lock Bree up.
We really hurt
before
ourselves.
Bree literally gets in trouble with the doctors.
Or at work.
True.
HR is going to work.
She's not talking to herself in the corner.
Who are you talking to?
Bree, who are you talking to right now? Nobody.
They told me you were going to ask.
See, we're doing a bit. Fuck.
We need to stop. Let's get into the first email. I hate that people always say I'm amazing and are surprised I don't get dates constantly. I'm 24, male, and I've been single my whole life. Not by choice, mind you. It's just that nothing has happened. I always got family, relatives, friends, coworkers breaking down my best features, saying how crazy it is I don't have a girlfriend. Like how I'm attractive, 6'5", I play sports, or play guitar and sing. Just makes me feel like I'm not doing something correctly. I know all of these things make it seem like I could get a girlfriend easier than most people, but having other people tell me that when it hasn't happened really annoys me. Like, what do I say to that? Yeah, you're right. I should have a girlfriend. Here, let me just go get one real quick. Ugh, I'm trying. It's not easy. People make it sound easy. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. You'd think having a hobby like playing volleyball would help. That hasn't gotten me a girlfriend either, and people love to bring it up. I don't know if it is supposed to cheer me up or give me confidence, but it doesn't. It just makes me think something is wrong with me or I'm really unlucky. Dude, I feel you.
What's odd is the volleyball thing.
What?
Them being like, you play volleyball. You should get bitches. Like, shut up.
I was impressed by volleyball.
I think it's because I'm really short that I'm like, must be nice. No.
That's also the sport that I wish like I could play. I do not
Do you
have
play
the coordination.
sand volleyball or like what kind of volleyball do you play? I'm just curious. You don't need to answer.
No, I totally feel you. Literally verbatim some of the things you said in there, like not for not trying, like it's not for lack of trying and things like that. I've said exactly that before. And you said you're 24. I think it was probably around that time I was having most of those thoughts too, where it kind of comes to a head and you're just focusing so much on it. Not to say I don't have the confidence in my appearance and things like that. I'm definitely very much self-deprecating and always blame myself or can make a joke about why I haven't had any significant other up to this point. But I too have never had a significant other, and it's pressures it's societal pressures. Like it's really so stupid. Don't feel behind and don't feel, it's hard to say don't feel like something's wrong with you because it's really easy to feel that way. And I also get the annoyance and when I think people do think they're doing something good or like it is this confidence booster when people are like, what? You don't have a girlfriend or you don't have a boyfriend? What? That's so crazy. It's like, okay, now I feel worse because they don't realize. Now
I'm going to go home and cry, Janet, you bitch.
They don't realize what's on the other side of those words. Like they don't realize what they're kind of not intentionally saying, but what those words are kind of saying to you.
Low key saying, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's how it comes off. And I think that's how it's like almost always perceived. Yeah. It's almost like going up to a woman who you don't know is pregnant or not and being like, are you pregnant? You don't know. You run that risk. Right. You don't know what that's going to be like. You're triggering or, or like going up to somebody and being like, why aren't you eating? Yeah. Like, you don't know. Right. You don't fucking know. Yeah. Like, and so I think it's intrusive. I think it's rude. I think they mean it as a compliment, but it's just like,
it never comes off.
It's not a compliment. And no. I think it's kind of like tact more than anything is what I would say like people need to have more of, because truth be told, I also have like a family member who will do that to me at like every family function. Always be like, so like boyfriend, and then he'll be like girlfriend. It's so annoying. And I'm just like, well, it's not your business. Even more so now. I'm like, you're making like a joke out of it. Cause like I too have also never had a relationship, but I think for me too, it's like, people have said that to me like, oh, you're like X, Y, and Z. Why are you single? It's like, I don't fucking know, dude. You figure it out. You start planning the dates for me then.
That's what I was going to say. Like literally even with people like,
I too think I'm a catch, but I think the universe will also give us what we need when we start like accepting just like the things as they are. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's something to
cliche, don't I? But like, I truly mean that.
Yeah, and there's something to be said of anytime I make a joke about like, oh, this person has had like this many boyfriends or this many girlfriends, and I can't even get a text back, like that whole joke and all that stuff. And there really is something to be said about like, well, would you want to be dating the person that they're dating? Like, look at the people they're dating. Do you like those people? And it's like, okay, well, yeah. I really think it does come down to just literally having standards and not settling. Not to say that literally everybody who's had a relationship before you have has settled. We're going to shit on everybody
else to make you feel better. Yeah. That's what we do at Rent Free Roommates.
And it's also not saying that like you're too picky, because everybody loves to throw that one out there too. And that's not the fucking case. It's just that you prioritize things differently. And I know that also that statement doesn't make it any easier, because no matter where your confidence is within being single your entire life up to this point, it doesn't make the actual loneliness of never having a significant other any easier, because there are going to be those moments. There's good days and bad days with everything. And for me personally, I sometimes seeing some of my friends in relationships and stuff like that, I'm like, thank fucking God I haven't had to deal with that in real life, and I just am learning from my friends and seeing.
I know, sometimes I feel like I've been in so many relationships because of that.
Right?
I'm like, yeah, it's been 3 years. It's tough for me.
But I love my independence. And then sometimes I'm also like, I worry that I've been single so long, I'm not going to know how to adjust to a relationship. But that's just a silly, stupid, intrusive thought.
Yeah.
And it does, there are times where you want companionship. You just want somebody. And that's totally normal. And I used to have the same reaction. I hated when this conversation would come up, like when you're on a date and stuff like that. Just, when was your last relationship, or how long was your last relationship? I fucking hated that question, because it meant that I had to be like, well, I've never been in one. And
I think you could just say you've never been in a serious relationship.
Yeah. But even that, people are like, why? And I was always so annoyed by that. I was like, if I knew, it wouldn't be an issue.
I was about to say, spoiler alert. I think I'm about to figure out why I'm single, because I'm like, I've never found somebody I've wanted to spend that much time with, like of my free time.
Well, but that's it's standards.
But it's just the truth. Like, a bitch loves to be quiet and read sometimes. But anyway.
Actually, it literally was like right around your age. Like 24 to like 26. I like put a lot of thought into that. And it did start out where I was like, it's not for lack of trying. Like it's all I've ever wanted. And like at some ages, especially like high school, it was like, all I fucking wanted was a boyfriend. But it wasn't till I started really looking into like really thinking about the question that I hate so much, I realized that I like have these scripts that I just repeat. So I only let people in as far as the script has been written in my head. And I don't let anybody past that. And I just kind of repeat the same information. So it's not really letting anybody in and letting them learn about me. It's just this thing that I've prepared. So really thinking about it, I was like, but I really have never put myself out there.
Well, yeah.
I kept to myself, or I just kept to my friends, and I would have crushes like from afar. But I've never been confident enough to like act on anything. So yeah, I wasn't putting myself out there. And then even into young adulthood, like still just, it wasn't till I like moved out that I finally started putting myself out there more, or just like there was like this big flip in my whole online dating that I was starting to go out more. And then and that's when I was getting all of these questions, and I was so annoyed. But it did take some time for me to like look back and be like, okay, it did help me realize that I have walls up.
Well, that's the thing I feel like about what I kind of get the vibe from this is like the writer is, and that, like, to your point, Brie, like, dating is vulnerability. And if you're not willing to make that leap, then you could be perfect on paper. But, like, I mean, how much work are you like also actually putting into it to be vulnerable as well? Could be like one question to ask yourself. Like, again, back to Bree's point is like, are you putting yourself out there enough? You know, like, because sometimes I'm like, where the fuck is my man? And I'm like, well, honey, you stay in every Friday. Like, what, like, that's home invasion. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's not, like, I don't think you want that, babe.
I met your father when he broke into my house.
It's the cutest story in the entire world. Do you like axes, sweetie? Honey, get your axe. The one. No, but like, seriously, like, because it's the same thing with me. Is like, people are like, again, we'll be like, you're X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. But like, nobody would know, huh? Nobody would know. And so you're like, yeah, it's not enough sometimes to also just be like this glamorous person on paper, because it's like, how are they going to know anything else though?
Yeah.
That too. And also dating is really weird now as well. Like, I find it to be one of the most strange things in the entire world, because like somebody will literally be like, tell me everything about you, and then never talk to you again.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Like, I don't get it. So like, that's where the whole, I feel like, standard things is going to come into place, because, and I feel like, again, I'm a broken record, but always trust your gut. Like, personally,
no, that's true. Yeah.
Like, I always kind of like, especially lately, I've been putting myself out there more-ish, in a way. And I always trust my gut on like me just being like a smaller woman, and I'm like, if I feel X, Y, and Z, or if the universe makes me feel a type of way, I'm gonna go with the vibe. And so far it hasn't led me astray, and I think that could be like a good thing to keep in mind too when you are like reaching out and talking to people, is just listening to yourself. Like, does it feel good? Like, the conversation flowing? Do I feel happy around them? Like, your energy levels too.
And I feel like the other annoying thing that we'll get a lot is it'll happen when you least expect it. And
Shut
that's
the fuck up.
The wrong fucking thing to say, because it's like, it's never going to be a thing that you're not thinking about, because we've been thinking about it for fucking
it's like literally
forever.
what they programmed us.
Yeah. And like literally everybody's shoving it in our faces. But I think what that statement is trying to get at but never quite accomplishes is to focus on yourself, but like in a public way, like you are, like you're putting yourself out there with the sports that you're playing and just like the hobbies and stuff. So definitely keep that up, and don't, this is the hard part, and where it takes practice in perspective, or just like the mindset that you're going into things with, is don't do something with the intention of, oh, I could meet somebody here. That's the hard part.
You're not going to find anybody good with that too, because you're not looking for connection.
Right. And you're also not being yourself then. You're so hyper focused. I'll catch myself doing this, and then I try to fix it, like when I'm out with friends and stuff like that, where I'm getting way too much in my head and I'm thinking about how other people are perceiving me. And I am fully unaware of how I look at all times. We know this from when I was talking about me thinking I look so great in my head, and then catching myself in the mirror and being like, whoa.
Her crazy talk.
But I like it, the kind of, I think, insecurities, or when we're hyperfixating on something like this, it shows on the outside whether we like it or not. And there's nothing more attractive than somebody just like having genuine fun with friends and stuff, and just seeing just like, that's one of the most, I've always said, I absolutely love seeing people laugh. I think laughing is like one of the only vulnerable things we let people see. When somebody like genuinely belly laughs, like where it is just, they're just letting go, and it's not a conscious thing. It's just the reaction. And I'm like, I love seeing that, because I feel like I'm seeing this real part of this person. And that is so attractive, and I love that. And that's why I always say, like,
find Brie at the comedy clubs.
I wish I could figure out how to make myself act the way that I do around Abby and my friends back home, or my sisters, just in general, like all the time. But it's because that's my most relaxed. It's when I'm most genuinely myself. And then when I'm not in those obviously comfortable situations, I'm not letting myself be that kind of vulnerable, and I'm not letting myself be real. So it's start doing stuff just with literally just with the intention of enjoying yourself.
Yeah, like, are you gonna because then you're gonna find the right crowd of people, because it's people you want to be around.
Yeah,
because it's what you want to do.
Right.
So, like, that's always a good thing, too, because it's like, if you're already enjoying yourself, you're going to be, like, one, more open and receptive to similar energies. Mm-hmm. And also, again, you're amongst people who have a similar interest to you. So, therefore, like, there's already this, like, you know, something to break the ice, something to talk about. Like, I hate meeting people at, like, clubs or anything like that. Like,
it's so stupid.
It's just, like... You don't want... There was one guy I did start looking at homes in Colorado with, but that's neither here nor there. That was just too many shots of Jameson. So I can't say not everybody's interested in long-term relationships at the bar.
And also, I mean, I think sometimes some of us forget that even the pretty people have it hard.
Sucks.
I think there is, you know, with how you've described yourself, you do sound like the total package. So I think sometimes there is like this intimidation. I think I feel like I've heard people say it more frequently, like celebrities or like models and stuff like that, where it's like they're also people that everyone's always like, oh, how many boyfriends do you have? Or like, oh, you must be just going like relationship to relationship. And they're like, no, I've been single for so fucking long.
Well, they're sexualizing you too. Is like what they're doing is just thinking that like you're hot. So like, therefore everybody wants you and everybody like, again, that's just another like tact thing. Personally, I might be hesitant to approach you because you said you're 6'5", and I'm just really, really short. So I'm just like, I'm not trying to like be funny. Like, I'm just trying to live my life, man.
But I think there is, like, unfortunately, that intimidation factor where people maybe feel like it's unobtainable. But I think the more that you are just yourself and try not to live in, I'm doing this to attract a woman, and just be your...
Everybody look at how hot I am.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Thank you. I was hoping you would get that, bitch.
No, we're not saying that you're...
No, I'm sorry. No, you're not Ron Burgundy. He's such a douche.
But the more that you are just your charming self and just put out those positive vibes, like we were saying, it'll break down those barriers or maybe any of that intimidation people may be feeling, and people will just be comfortable. It doesn't even have to be charming where it's like this impressive person. I think when I feel that way, it's just somebody who made me feel included and made me feel like welcome. And that's all it takes. So that's all it takes to make an impression is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's all it takes to get somebody.
You still got to be vulnerable. Remember that, babe.
Yeah. And then also just not giving a fuck what everybody says because it's stupid and they're all saying the same thing and they're not actually helping. They don't realize what they're saying. But also just, I hope that I can validate you in, I also hate when people say that.
Yeah, like, I mean, we've been single. I don't think there's anything wrong with us. I just don't think.
No, I just don't settle. I haven't. And I'm glad for that. The times when I've been feeling really lonely and I've been like, well, why haven't I just like almost saying to myself, like, why haven't I just settled? I'm in the thought after that, I'm like, I'm glad that I haven't. I'm glad that I haven't had these,
I was just about to say, I will say that
fights and
every
heartbreaks
single
and stuff.
Guy that I've ever thought I've wanted a relationship with and it didn't work out with, like literally X amount of months down the line, I'm like, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah.
He sounds terrible. Yeah. Like, ew, like not my circus, not my monkey. So happy about that. Like, truly. And that's because I was like, am I romanticizing this or do I actually give a fuck about you too?
Right.
And like, again, it's that vulnerability thing, but it's also trusting like your judgment. And it's like, again, not settling as well. It's like, yes, I'm lonely. Yes, I'm X, Y, and Z. And yes, everybody thinks I should be in a relationship. But like, I'm not just like, don't do it for the sake of doing it, because I've seen a lot of people date the guys I wanted to date and they look not happy. They look not well. And I'm also like, I watch their shenanigans and I'm like, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I am tired looking at that. So, I mean, again, like, we just want to validate you, but like also, you know, don't be afraid to put yourself out there too if you haven't been doing so already too. Because like, again, like, it does take that amount of courage and vulnerability and putting your walls down to allow people in. But I think if you do that in an environment where, like, you feel comfortable, you're amongst like people with similar interests, or where like you feel good, I think you'll start gravitating towards the right people. And it doesn't need to happen overnight, but I think like even going on a couple of dates, that'll let you know like the kind of people you're interested in too. And then I think it'll be easier to like spot them when you're with them too.
Right.
You know, it like unfortunately like it does take practice dating as well. And like as somebody that like hates to do it too, like I have to, because again, I don't want them just coming in my home. That's so scary. That's so scary.
But there's a power in being single. There's a power in being single, and I always think that when I see any friends I have that go relationship to relationship, I'm like, I am still figuring out who I am, yes, but I also know a lot of myself and know a lot of what I can do on my own. And there are people that don't know that and are terrified of even the thought of having to do that. So there's nothing wrong with you is the most important part of this.
There's not.
We feel like there's something wrong with us because everybody is saying the same thing to us. So it's like, well, everybody else is doing this and everybody else is saying that, so it must be me. It's not. It's that you are holding a standard, you're prioritizing yourself, and you're not putting a relationship just because people say that that's what you should be doing ahead of other things that should be prioritized in your life. So there is nothing wrong with you. You are doing great. You're 24. You have so much time. I promise you. That's another stupid thing that people tell us, that we should be doing this or that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're not going off to war. This isn't 1912. Like, you don't need to get married right away.
Yeah, you have so much time. I promise you. And use that time just to continue learning about yourself, and to just and to practice and just date and have fun dating and not be so stressed about it. I know, easier said than done, but I think once you start having fun with it all, it'll all come easier and things will happen when they're supposed to. We feel you. You're not alone in this feeling. It is so fucking annoying. So know that there are other people out there that
there are two bitches that hear it like at every family function. So we're right there with you, babe.
Yeah. Best of luck. Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it.
But it's a well-known fact that I am a little gremlin thief. A petty thief, if you will.
You said gremlin and it made me think of grimace. Have you tried the shake? Are you not up to date on the McDonald's news?
No. Oh my God, who's Grimace?
This is not an ad.
Who's Grimace? No, this is not an ad. I'm literally getting roasted.
From McDonald's.
Oh, he had a name?
Yeah, it's Grimace.
Well, obviously. Fuck.
And it's his birthday, apparently. I don't know what actual day this month.
I feel like you want me to feel something more than I do. Do you think it's a good shake? Have you had it?
I just tried it. I mean, actually, I don't know what it is.
Are you trying to sell me on it now?
Everybody go try it.
It's not an ad.
Because that's what Mary Kate's friend did. She saw it. She was like, what does it taste like? And she said, Grimace. It's all really cute, like the packaging, all the branding that they're doing for it. Everything has like birthday confetti and stuff on the bags.
I literally just always mean business when I'm there. I said, double cheeseburger, medium fry, medium Coke, please.
I am there way too frequently, so I
Bree's
know
like,
all these changes.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Barbara. I'm glad you got second shift. You've been wanting to make the switch.
It's a very pretty purple color, and I'm pretty sure it's blueberry.
Ooh, but the
listeners
really will have to tell us.
Yeah, you tell me what it tastes like. Oh, wait. One more thing about the Grimace thing.
Oh, my God.
It's such a big thing. I literally just realized today, me and Devin were watching TV. It's literally on in Roku Village. They added a McDonald's.
Shut up.
And like Grimace is inside and they're like partying and stuff. Yeah, that's how big this is.
Damn, I'm going to have to watch Roku Village later.
It's so big it reached Roku Village.
Anybody that has Roku Village,
where would you want to live?
Yeah, you gotta let us know.
We talk about that way too much.
Way too much. And if you don't have Roku Village, any of the listeners, you'll have to look it up and then get involved.
Sick place.
It's a sick ass place. You gotta let me know what you think rent is too. Because like there's a lot going on that I feel like you could haggle, but at the same time, rent's either really high or really dirt cheap. I can't tell.
I feel like everything is dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap.
Because that shit's like getting destroyed on the daily. You never know. Insurance is probably sky high.
It's a great time to be in insurance.
That's what we have to do. We have to make a commercial for Roku Village insurance people.
That you heard it here first. That's ours. Nobody take that.
Because that is quite a job.
It would age you rapidly, I bet.
Anyways, we could go on for way too long about Roku Village.
That's disgustingly sad. So I really want to just read the episode now.
Also not sponsored.
I feel like I just learned way too much about myself in that time frame and a lot about you. So,
but if McDonald's or Roku wants to sponsor us, hit us up.
Put us on a billboard out there.
Let us know. Oh my God.
Right?
What if we got so big we were in Roku Village? Make it happen, guys.
This is on you. It's really only up to you. Let's go.
Is it selfish to leave a relationship if your partner is dealing with substance abuse? I'm thinking of walking away from a 3-year relationship because my girlfriend needs to take a substance every day. I won't say what it is, but it's a downer. Before you tell me to talk to her about it, we've been over it before. She just says she's not ready to give it up yet. I didn't really mind it before in the beginning stage of the relationship, but now I'm fully devoted into a healthy, active lifestyle and self-improvement. I'm turning 26 soon, and I want more from life. I want to fulfill dreams and achieve goals. She's 23 and doesn't seem to be wanting more in life yet. I guess what triggered me to ask y'all this is because 1 hour ago, I used her money to tip our delivery guy, and she lost it and started yelling at me because that money was supposed to be for her supply tonight. I've always been cool with her using every day, but now I'm starting to see this side of addiction that I've never seen before. So yeah, is it selfish that I'm considering leaving her after 3 years? P.S. We live together and have 2 cats together, so I can't move out ASAP, but would love to hear what you guys think.
Like, first thing to note is if you have to ask if you're being selfish, you're not being selfish, because you're already thinking so much about how, like, what you're doing. You're already thinking about how your actions could possibly be affecting another human being, and that's not a selfish person, just to start. And I think abuse has a really good manipulation factor that, like, even the person abusing it isn't causing. It's just, like, the substance or whatever their vice is. It's also, like, that, because it puts this, like, black cloud over the situation where, like, you know this person is in harm because you know this thing that they're doing is damaging to their body in some form, and you're like, then that unintentionally falls on your responsibility. And so that's like the manipulation of the substance or the drug too, is because it's like you're not even doing it. Yeah. But you're getting the effects of, like, the fucked up effects of it too. And that's the part where I'm like, that's what that kind of thing does to relationships, is it makes the person who's on, like, the receiving end of it feel like they have this obligation to somebody who's obviously not taking an interest in their current life. Yeah. And it makes you have to take, it's basically you caring more for their life than they are. Yeah. And that's you basically just being, you're not a selfish person and you know human life has value. So I don't think it's like you doing anything wrong. I think it's the circumstances of that situation. But unfortunately, like, the thing is like, you can't make people see what they don't want to see.
Yeah. That's one of the hardest parts about it. And a lot of people have had to remind me. A lot of people have had to remind me about that too. And that is the hardest part, because you care so much, and it's a fine line, which I have yet to find, of where you step in and where they just kind of have to figure things out on their own or come into things in their own time. And because I can also relate to being okay with stuff. Not that you were okay, or it's maybe easier to kind of live around things in the beginning, but there is that moment where the monster of addiction is kind of staring you in the face and you really fully see all of it. I just recently had that moment, and it's scary. It's really scary when you see it in full force. And especially when it's someone you love. So it's a really hard situation because you know this great part of this person and you know all the good in them. So it's really hard to see them as somebody that you don't know. I know for me, with the person in my life that is currently also affected by addiction, it
strips the person away, I think, is what it does. And it makes you want to salvage them more because you know this person that they can be and that they were. And you're like, this isn't you. This is the disease. And that's what it is, too, is it's a disease. But, like, it's also, like, when somebody has a disease, it's up to them to fight that disease, too. Like, you either want to go after it and do something about it or you don't. And that's kind of just the thing is, like, for you, I'm not even necessarily sure. I mean, I guess the timing is a factor here, too, because, yes, you know this previous version of her. But it's people can develop into things that you don't know, but I don't think that means you have to stay for that. Because to my previous point, you can't make somebody value their life. Like, they have to do that. And I just don't know what good it's doing you knowing that, I mean, because basically it kind of sounds like what's happening is you're just like barely keeping them going.
Yeah.
But what is it doing to you in return as well? And that's where like the selfishness comes in, because it's like, to me, in my experience with things like that, they'll just continue to like bite that hand until like a boundary is set or until they realize. But again, like it's such a hard pill to swallow, especially when you care for people. But it's like, I can accept the situation for what it is and the love I have for you, but have to remove myself because it's doing damage to me now.
Yeah.
And and then it begs the question where it's like, you have to like love yourself, and you're not loving yourself, and it's making you not love your friends, and it's making you damage these relationships or these family relationships, whatever the situation may be. And it's like, what's more important to you at the moment? And it's like, again, you cannot make them see that. They have to see that for themselves. They have to know they have something going for them. And that's on them to decide. But it's like, it's not your life to live for them.
Yeah. Because
it sounds harsh. I'm not trying to be harsh. It's just something that like I personally went through. Yeah. And like I got a lot more time to deal with shit because it happened to me so young that I'm just like,
yeah,
I had a like, I mean, it shouldn't have happened. Like some, like, you know, like I'm good, like nothing bad, like crazy happened. But it's just like, I saw things that I didn't need to see from people that like I really loved and cared for. And that like, looking back on life, I'm like, I'm not angry, but I can understand the situation and why you couldn't be a part of my life. That doesn't make it easy because I wanted you there. But it's like, you weren't going to be good for me, and you weren't a good surrounding and environment for me to be in. This is, and it's selfish.
Yeah.
It wants as much as it can take.
Yeah.
And it'll take the people that person loves too.
Right.
If it can.
Yeah, because I think there's like a really big negative hump that it takes, and negative period in the recovery process that it takes to get through. And sometimes people just have an easier time letting things go and like just letting it continue so that they can still keep that person in their life and not have to go through the really negative and the really hard parts. But when it does start affecting you so much, somebody else's actions start affecting your life so much, so negatively, you have to get yourself out of there if it's really taking you down too, because you didn't make that choice and you're actively trying to make better choices for yourself. And it's not easy, and that's a really hard choice to make, but it is best for you, I think, to end this relationship. And you can, if you feel this way, you can leave it open-ended and kind of let them know that you're taking yourself out of the situation, you're taking yourself out of the picture, you're ready to be there when they're ready for your help. But for now, you need to get yourself out of that situation because it's not good or healthy or safe for you.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with that. You even said it. You have places you want to go in life, dreams you want to fulfill. And unfortunately, like the thing too with history is you want to see those people on that journey with you. Because that's what you kind of envisioned life. Like, I think when you got into the relationship, you probably, I mean, for 3 years, obviously you've been with this person. So I'm assuming you saw some sort of life with them. And it's hard to break those, you know, romanticize those like future plans with somebody because we do. And you think about all these things you're going to do with them, all these chapters you're going to have together. And then again, they have to want that too. And they're not seeing that. They're not wanting that for themselves. But that's also not fair to you. Like, why do you have to be the one to sit there and watch this person essentially, for lack of a better word, kind of destroy themselves? And that's where I'm like, that's not good for anybody. Nobody needs to go through that because it's like, it's bad enough knowing somebody you love has a disease that they're affected by. And I say disease because I think any form of like substance or alcohol abuse is a disease, like in one way or another that like they're fighting within themselves because like nobody asks for it. Nobody picks up a bottle or a needle or anything and thinks like, can't wait to do this for the rest of my life. Yeah. Like there's something that's being numbed and you know, that's the disease of that. I feel like you could even word it as like, because I agree, I think the relationship does need to come to a halt for your well-being and hopefully a wake-up call for her to know that like this is what this situation in your life is doing to your relationships. Like, and it'll either be the wake-up call that they need or it'll be a choice that they make. I'm saying I think you need to have a conversation. From that conversation, I feel like they are going to make a choice. And you need to hold them to that choice. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you stick around, that's what I would say is you need to hold them to that accountability. Because, like, remember this conversation we had. You see value. Your life is important. Even if I'm not here, it's still important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think speak your piece. I know I say that a lot, but I think it's important to do that because I think especially in this kind of caretaker role that a lot of us take on when we have somebody in our life who is affected by addiction, which I mean, you know, in a secondary way, you are also affected by it. You're, you know, on the outside. But I think it's, we kind of keep things from them because we don't want to hurt them more. Or we feel like if we're honest, it's just going to make them do what they're doing already even more. And then we're part of the problem. But that's not, if I learned anything recently, it's sometimes people need to hear certain things from the right person. So if you're keeping anything in, you might be withholding, you know, something that could help. So it's definitely, you know, what do they say? It's a sign of insanity to redo the same thing and expect a different outcome. So you can't keep doing it. If you feel like you've been having that conversation, you've had it a million times, then that is maybe your sign to step away. Something needs to change for you too. I just kind of feel like I'm always like, I want to be a good friend. And sometimes that does mean taking myself out of the situation because maybe I'm being an enabler by me thinking I'm helping, but by still being there, it's maybe just not putting that shock into anything and they're not actually learning anything. I feel like it'll make stepping away feel a little bit easier as long as you feel like you said everything that needed to be said. And I also think that I know whatever emotions you're going through right now are completely valid. And it's normal to kind of mourn a person. Yeah. Or grieve for a person, even when they're fully alive and you're still living together. Because I feel like I've been going through that with a person in my life who is currently affected by addiction. That I think you're just mourning the person that you knew and mourning the relationship that you had. And so you're going to go through kind of all of those stages of grief like people talk about where I've felt myself going through them with this person, and I'm definitely, I think, currently pretty fixed in anger. And all of the emotions that you can go through with stuff like this seem really confusing when it is all that you want to do is just take care of this person and help. So when you start getting angry, it's really confusing, and you're like, wait, I need to be a good person. I need to be the positive person. I need to be the caretaker. But it's so normal to feel angry about this stuff because, like we've said, like it's selfish. Addiction makes people selfish, and it's just like this thing that has taken over their brain. It's not really that person, but
it's not.
It's how they're acting right now.
And that's the current situation. Yeah. That's the thing that we need to focus on here is the current situation is not who they used to be. And this current situation is not healthy for you. It's not healthy for them. So it's like, you can't be in that, and you can't be, it's crazy for you expected to be in that, you know? It's crazy for anybody to be expected to do that. I mean, I think it's great if people do end up there. I don't think it's mandatory. I don't think it's warranted. Like, especially if you feel like you're not reaching them anymore and you feel like you yourself are at a breaking point, I think it's only fair in some situations to do what's right for you as well. And that might be stepping away. But I think only you will know that when you have this conversation as well. But my biggest piece of advice is realize that, like, it's very easy to say something in the moment and manipulate to get you to stay too. But it's like results are really what we would need to focus on here moving forward as well, is because they've kind of lost that trust too. If like anything were to ever change, it's like, well, you've kind of abused this trust that I've created with you in this bond, whether it's friendships, romantic relationships, family like relationships as well. It's like, you've lost that. You have to earn that back now. So I need to know that you're doing X, Y, and Z. And that's why I'm like, you could use the most recent interaction with the delivery driver as an example of like, you know, this really shed some light on like, there's a bigger issue at hand here, because at the end of the day, this substance is just a substance, but the reaction that it evoked from you is the bigger issue at hand here. And that's just, it's not healthy for me to be in that, like, over this. And I think you need to figure out what it is in this substance that triggers you, releases you from what you feel, because that's what that is at the end of the day, is like unresolved feelings, trauma, something they're not dealing with, but they can't expect you to be on that ride with them. That's the selfish part. And I'm like, you're not selfish, because again, you're already thinking more about what they're not doing with their life than they are.
Right.
And that's like, again, you can't make somebody fight for that. And that's not really the life that you want to live, nor do I think it's a life you should have to live if you don't want to. That's the harsh truth of it too, is that's where it's like, that person made their decision and they didn't involve you in that when they were doing it. And that's the selfishness of it too. Like, again, I don't think they're a bad person, but it's like, the facts are the facts too. Is it's like, you did this, and whether or not it was like conscious, but like, now we're in a situation where like, I can't be around you. And it's like, we have to do something about that, because like, what's currently happening is you're destroying these relationships, these potential like dreams like that you can fulfill for X, Y, and Z. And I think we need to like examine that a little bit further. That was a tangent. I hope you kept up with that one.
No, it was all valid, and it was good points. Like, it's like what I was saying about my person, that I love them with my whole heart, but I did not like them in our most recent time together. And Abby was saying this, that the substance abuse is not the problem, that they're doing that to solve a problem. You know, there are other problems going on, that this is just kind of the Band-Aid, or they're trying to heal those wounds with this, which has now become a problem. So finding that solution to, and finding what that root problem is the beginning of the healing process for them. But you can't know, that's like a puzzle that you don't have all the pieces to, because the other part of addiction is that they keep stuff from people, especially the ones who are trying to be honest and help them.
Right.
They're keeping things from you. So you don't even have all the tools to solve a problem. You don't even know all the pieces to the puzzle. And that's where it becomes that they have to do this on their own to a point.
I mean,
having the support is good because it's hard.
and like it sounds like you can still support them, want the best for them, but not be fully involved in their life. Like, I think that's more than fair as well. And like, I had situations like that too with the person who was previously in my life. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm not mad. There's a lot of things I could be mad about, but there'd be no point at this point in my life as well. So it's like, and again, I can see the situation for what it is and like understand that a lot of what they did wasn't intentional or malicious towards me, but it still affected me and that wasn't okay. So they couldn't be in my life. But at the end of the day, I don't hate them. And I don't think you would hate them either, because it's like, it sounds like they already do enough of that themselves. If they're using something to numb the pain. So I'm not going to add to that for them, and I don't think you would either. But I do think you need to go. And that's just my honest opinion. And I think just as much as them having to recover from their battle right now, it's just as much of a transition for you to try and get out of this situation, because this is also hard too. You need to think you're also going through something hard.
Yeah, you also need support.
You do. And I hope, and you need to think about yourself as well here too. Like, you're on the receiving end.
I think in whatever kind of last conversation you have with your partner, I don't think in this situation subtleties are helpful for anybody. I think
does nobody favors.
I think being honest and being, obviously not being malicious, but I don't think you would do that. You don't sound like the type of person that would be petty in this type of situation, but I think you kind of have to, not like borderline over explain, but you have to explain each thing so that there's no room for misinterpretation or for just misunderstanding of taking something the wrong way. They just have to fully understand where you're coming from and why you're making these decisions and what the decisions are that you're making, because leaving anything open for interpretation, I think, gives them the ability to kind of play victim. I think that's also a big thing that happens with addiction. They are a victim to a point, but they're not a victim in that everyone's giving up on them. The reality is people aren't actually giving up on these people, because it is so hard to love a person that has addiction.
Well, they're just giving up on making somebody want to fight for themselves. Like, they're giving up being the one fighting for somebody to fight for themselves, I think is what it is. At a certain point, you have to back out of. Yeah, you got to back out of the ring too, because it's like, you know, you've got a life to live too. Yeah.
You have to work on your own life. You can't be keeping theirs together.
Because, I mean, and again, I don't want it to seem like, oh, you have a problem, I'm going to abandon you, because that's not.
Yeah, you know, you're not fucking off.
No, you're not at all.
You're making a very hard decision.
Then I think you can support from afar and let them know that, like, you know, if you need help, if you want me to drive you to, like, this meeting, drop you off here, like, at this center for something, let them know that support system is open, but the support system of letting you harm yourself, done. Yeah. Like, you are done watching them do this to themselves. Right. And you are now, your support. That's what you're giving up on. Your support now lies with them getting help. And if they can't do that, then you can't support right now. Right. And that's just the facts.
And what makes it so confusing, I think, for all parties is that we all have this idea, this squeaky clean idea of what love is in any kind of relationship, whether it's friendship or otherwise. But it's so much more complicated than that.
Well, and the toxic thing about love is that people tell you need to stick with somebody through it too. But I'm loving you enough to tell you that this current version of yourself will get you nowhere. Yeah. It's not going to get you anywhere. And it's certainly not going to get me to, like, stay. Right. Like, I love you enough to tell you this because I love you and I want you to love you. Mm-hmm. That's the thing here, is if I didn't love you, I would just watch you down this or shoot this up because I don't give a fuck, you know?
Yeah, if anything, I would even say maybe it's helpful to reiterate that you want to, like, you're glad they're here, but you don't want to see them. If I have to lose you, I'd rather have it be my choice and lose you and have this still have left the good memories. I don't want to lose you in a way that's not my choice.
Yeah.
Meaning not their choice either.
And I don't want to lose somebody knowing that I never tried to help them see the error of their ways with that too.
Right.
I don't want to lose you knowing that I was too afraid to have this conversation or to tell you like something, because again, you love them and you love their life. You want them to live. And it's like, I don't want to wake up knowing that I could have said something and also didn't. And again, that's unfortunately a situation that gets put on you because of somebody else's actions. But I'd rather say it than not at the end of the day too. But
yeah,
I really just want to say that I'm sorry that you have to go through this again, the both of you. And if you need continued support, feel free to reach back out to us.
Yeah.
We're always literally just an email, a message away on any social media platform, not just for you, but for anybody that needs to reach out for anything. I mean, we're not experts, but at the end of the day, it's just in our nature. And so like, we just, again, I feel like we feel so much that like, we know how situations can feel so isolating, such as this one too, especially when it's somebody that you love, that you feel like you can't even talk to. So, I mean, the line's open for anybody that wants to talk about anything with us.
Yeah.
And if you have something that you want to like, that's not along the lines of this too, you're more than welcome to reach out.
If I learn anything along my journey too that I'm kind of going through with my own person, I'll let you know. We can talk about it. We can be here for each other. So yeah, reach out. Nothing, obviously, proof. Nothing's off the table. We mean what we say.
Truly.
When we say that, we are here to help you guys. So, and to just even help you be heard and feel like you're not alone, because it can be real lonely out there. But we're here for you. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, it's not an easy thing to talk about some of this stuff. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yes.
And thank you for bringing this to us and trusting us with it. And we really do wish you guys the best of luck, because it's not easy, but thank you so much. You know where to find us. And if you do have anything you want to tell us, don't forget, you can email us at rentfreeroommates@gmail.com. Hit us up on social media. You can message us there as well. But can't wait to see you next time.
Until next time, loves. Bye.
Bye.